Kim Jin's fingers flew across his keyboard as lines of code filled his screen. As the team's lead cryptographer, he had broken difficult codes before, but nothing like this. 3 days had passed since Dr. Han and Park Sun found the signal, and they were finally making progress. "I think I've got something," Kim Jin called out, his voice echoing through the quiet lab. It was past midnight, but no one had wanted to go home. "Come look at this." Dr. Han and Park Sun hurried over, both clutching fresh cups of coffee. Director Yang, who had been sleeping on the office couch, joined them quickly. The message. Kim Jin pointed to his screen, his hand shaking slightly. "It's not just math. There are images hidden in the code." He pressed a button, and a series of diagrams appeared on the large screen. They showed what looked like engine parts, but nothing like any engine on Earth. The designs were complex, beautiful, and completely alien. "It's a distress call," Park Sun whispered, studying the diagrams. "They're sending instructions to fix something." Dr. Han nodded slowly. "But they're not sending it to us. These instructions, they're meant for someone much more advanced than humans." Director Yang frowned. "How can you be sure?" "Look here." Dr. Han pointed to one of the diagrams. "This part shows how to repair what seems to be a faster-than-light drive. Whoever sent this message expected the people receiving it to already have that technology." The room grew quiet as they realized what this meant. They were reading someone else's mail from one advanced alien civilization to another. "Should we?" Park Sun hesitated, then continued, "Should we try to answer?" "That would be dangerous," Director Yang said firmly. "We don't know who sent this or what might happen if we reply." Kim Jin spoke up, his voice quiet but determined. "But what if they need help? Even if we can't fix their problems, we could at least let them know someone heard them." Dr. Han walked to the window, looking at the stars just like Director Yang had done days ago. "The signal is getting weaker," he said. "Whatever trouble they're in, it's getting worse." "The government won't like this," Director Yang warned. "And not just our government. Every country will want to control this situation." "Then we don't tell them yet," Park Sun suggested. Everyone turned to look at her. "We have the equipment. We have the basic code structure now. We could send a simple response before anyone stops us." Director Yang shook her head. "That's too risky. If anything goes wrong, it will be my responsibility." Dr. Han interrupted. "I'll send the message myself." Kim Jin raised his hand. "I'll help. We can make it simple, just enough to show we understood their call." Director Yang looked at each of them, seeing the determination in their faces. Finally, she sighed. "You have 24 hours. After that, I have to report this up the chain." They all nodded, already turning back to their work. They knew it was dangerous. They knew the message wasn't meant for humans, but someone out there needed help, and they couldn't just listen and do nothing. As the team began composing their reply, none of them realized they were about to change human history forever. Sometimes, the biggest adventures start with simply answering a call that wasn't meant for you. Dr. Handai stared at his computer screen, his coffee growing cold beside him. The signal pattern didn't make sense. He had checked it 20 times already, but the numbers kept showing the same thing. Something was out there, sending a message that wasn't random noise. "Park Sun." He called out to his communication specialist. "Come look at this." Park Sun walked over from her workstation, her long black hair tied back in a simple ponytail. She had worked with Dr. Han for 5 years at the Korean Space Agency, and she had never heard that tone in his voice before. "What's wrong?" she asked, leaning over his shoulder to look at the screen. "These patterns," Dr. Han pointed at the repeating waves on his monitor. "At first, I thought it was just background radiation from space. But look here." He highlighted a section of the data. "It repeats every 127 seconds. Exactly. Nature doesn't work that way." Park Sun's eyes widened as she looked at the numbers. "Could it be from one of our satellites?" "No," Dr. Han shook his head. I checked that first. This signal is coming from much further away. And it's stronger than anything we've seen before. They spent the next 3 hours analyzing the signal. The more they looked, the stranger it became. The pattern contained complex mathematical sequences, prime numbers, Fibonacci series, and other patterns that couldn't happen by chance. We should tell Director Yang, Park Sun said, printing out their findings. Dr. Han nodded, but he couldn't take his eyes off the screen. Something about the signal bothered him. It was too perfect, too precise. And it wasn't aimed at Earth. Director Yang arrived quickly after their call. She was a small woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Show me everything," she ordered. They explained their findings, pointing out the patterns and the signal's trajectory. Director Yang listened quietly, her face growing more serious with each detail. "The signal," Dr. Han explained. "It's passing by Earth. Its real target is somewhere near Proxima Centauri. We're just picking up. Well, think of it like overhearing someone else's phone call." "Can we decode it?" Director Yang asked. Park Sun stepped forward. "We're trying. The math in it is clear, but the message itself is encrypted. It's like nothing we've seen before. But," she hesitated. "But what?" "But it feels urgent," Park Sun finished. "The pattern keeps repeating faster and faster. Whatever this message is, someone really needs it to be heard." Director Yang walked to the window, looking up at the night sky. "Keep this quiet for now," she ordered. "Work on decoding it. If this is what we think it is." She turned back to face them. "We need to be absolutely sure before we tell anyone else." As Director Yang left, Dr. Han and Park Sun looked at each other. They both knew what this could mean. Someone out there was sending a message, an important one. And even though it wasn't meant for humans, they had heard it anyway. "Let's get to work," Dr. Han said, turning back to his computer. "Whatever this message is, someone needs help, and we might be the only ones listening." Park Sun nodded, already pulling up the decryption programs. Above them, through the observatory's dome, the stars twinkled quietly, holding their secrets. But not for long. Whether the message was meant for them or not, humanity was about to answer. Li Du stared at the satellite diagram spread across his desk, his eyes tired but focused. As the team's engineer, he had spent the last 12 hours trying to figure out how to send their message into deep space. Their regular communication equipment wasn't strong enough. "What if we connect multiple satellites?" he muttered to himself, drawing lines between different stations on the map. Dr. Han walked in, carrying 2 lunchboxes. "You missed breakfast," he said, putting one box on Li Du's desk. "Any progress?" Li Du grabbed a pencil and pointed to his drawings. "Maybe. Look at this. We have 15 communication satellites we can access. If we link them together, can we do that?" Dr. Han asked, pulling up a chair. "Not normally," Li Du admitted. "But the math in the alien signal gave me an idea. They use something like quantum linking in their communications. We can't copy it exactly, but we can make a simpler version." Park Sun entered the room, followed by Kim Jin. They both looked excited. "We finished the message," Park Sun announced. "Simple and clear, just like we planned. We tell them we heard their call and understand they need help." Kim Jin nodded. "We included basic math proofs to show we're intelligent, plus Earth's location. We made it as friendly as possible." "That's great," Li Du said, "but we have a bigger problem. The signal is getting weaker much faster now. We might only have 6 hours left to send our reply." Everyone grew quiet. 6 hours wasn't much time. "Show me your plan," Dr. Han said to Li Du. Li Du pointed to his drawings again. "If we link all our satellites and time their transmissions perfectly, we can create one super strong signal, like many small voices joining to make one loud shout." "Won't that burn out the satellites?" Park Sun asked. "Maybe," Li Du admitted, "but it's our only chance." Dr. Han thought for a moment. "How long to set it up?" 4 hours if everything goes perfectly." 5 if we hit any problems. Do it, Dr. Han decided. I'll tell Director Yang. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Li Du and his engineering team worked frantically to reprogram the satellites. Park Sun and Kim Jin fine-tuned their message, making sure every part was perfect. Dr. Han coordinated everything, running between teams and solving problems as they came up. With just 30 minutes left, they were ready. All satellites are in position, Li Du reported, his fingers hovering over the launch command. Message is loaded, Kim Jin confirmed. Signal strength is still good enough to reach them, Park Sun added. Dr. Han looked at Director Yang, who had been watching silently. She nodded once. Send it, Dr. Han ordered. Li Du pressed the button. Around the Earth, 15 satellites turned as one, focusing their power on a single point in space, their combined signal carrying humanity's first message to an alien civilization. Shot out into the darkness. For a long minute, nothing happened. The room was completely silent except for the quiet beeping of computers. Then Park Sun gasped, pointing at her screen. We're getting a response, she whispered. And it's coming from much closer than we thought. The adventure that started with an intercepted signal was about to become much bigger than any of them had imagined. The response came so fast, it made everyone jump. The computer screens in the lab lit up with new data, far clearer than the original signal. It's coming from the Kuiper Belt, Park Sun said, her voice shaking with excitement. Just past Neptune's orbit. They were in our solar system all along. Dr. Han leaned forward, studying the incoming message. They're using our same communication format. They adapted to our technology immediately. The first images appeared on their screens. They showed a massive ship, damaged but still impressive. It was hiding behind a large ice rock, which explained why Earth's telescopes hadn't spotted it before. They want to talk, Kim Jin announced, working quickly to translate the message. They're surprised. They can't believe a primitive species understood their distress call. Director Yang stepped forward. Can we set up direct communication? Li Du nodded, his fingers flying over his keyboard. They're making it easy for us. They're sending us exactly how to modify our equipment for better reception. Within minutes, a clear video signal appeared on the main screen. Everyone in the room held their breath. The alien that appeared looked almost like a tall human made of silvery metal and blue crystal. Its voice came through their speakers, automatically translated by the alien systems. We are confused, it said. Your species should not have been able to understand our message, let alone respond to it. Dr. Han stepped forward. We saw someone needed help. We couldn't ignore that. The alien's crystal parts glowed slightly. Fascinating. You used 15 primitive satellites linked together to reach us. The method was crude, but creative. We've never seen anything like it. We used what we had, Li Du said simply. Yes, the alien agreed. You did. We are the collectors. We study civilizations across the galaxy. Your solution was unexpected. Most young species would not have even noticed our signal, let alone found a way to answer it. Park Sun moved closer to the screen. Your original message was meant for someone else, wasn't it? Someone more advanced. The collector's color shifted slightly. Yes, we were calling our own kind for help. Our ship was damaged while fleeing from a serious threat. We hid in your system, thinking it too primitive to be noticed by our pursuers. Can we help? Dr. Han asked. We may be primitive by your standards, but we're good at solving problems. The alien was quiet for a moment. Perhaps your very primitiveness might be an advantage. Your solutions are unusual, unexpected. It paused again. But helping us would put your world at risk. The threat we flee is beyond your understanding. Director Yang spoke up. Let us decide that for ourselves. At least tell us what we're dealing with. The collector's colors swirled. Very well. But first, we must test your capabilities. If you truly wish to help, You must prove you can handle what's coming. We're ready, Dr. Hand said, looking at his team. They all nodded. No, the collector said, its voice somehow both gentle and firm. You are not ready. But you are braver than we expected. Let us see if your species' creativity can match its courage. As the alien began explaining their first test, none of the humans noticed its colors had changed to show respect, a sign that would have told more advanced species that the collectors had just recognized humanity as equals. The first test seemed impossible. The collectors showed the team a broken piece of their ship's engine, a crystal cube that needed fixing. The cube was supposed to power their main systems, but it had cracked during their escape. We have tried everything, the collector explained. Its name was Axe, though that was just the closest sound humans could pronounce. The crystal cannot be fixed with our methods. Li Du turned the cube over in his hands. It was warm and hummed slightly. What powers it? Light energy, focused through quantum matrices, Axe said. But the crack disrupts the patterns. Li Du looked at Dr. Han. This reminds me of something. Remember that project from last year? The one that failed. Dr. Han's eyes lit up. The laser focusing experiment. Park Sun, get the old files. The team worked through the night. They took a failed experiment from their past, one that used mirrors and crystals to focus light, and changed it to work with the alien cube. It wasn't perfect, but it was different from anything the collectors had tried. There, Li Du said finally, look at this. The cube was glowing again, the crack sealed with a web of tiny mirrors that redirected the light around the damage instead of trying to fix it. The collectors were amazed. You didn't fix it, Axe said. You made it work differently. We never considered that approach. But that was just the beginning. The next test involved solving a complex navigation problem. The collectors expected the team to use advanced math. Instead, Kim Jin created a simple computer game that showed the problem in 3D, letting them solve it by seeing patterns instead of doing calculations. Remarkable, Axe said. You turn complex problems into pictures and games. Your minds work so differently from ours. The third test was about energy distribution. The collectors had strict rules about the right way to balance power systems. Park Sun ignored all of them. She created a new system that was messy but worked better than the original. It's not elegant, she admitted. No, Axe agreed. Its crystal parts glowing brighter. It's better. You humans, you don't follow the rules because you never learned them. And sometimes that leads to better solutions. Director Yang watched all of this with growing pride. Her team wasn't just passing the tests. They were showing the aliens a whole new way of thinking. Why do you seem so happy? She asked Axe after the fourth test. I thought you wanted advanced help, not primitive humans. Axe's colors shifted to deep blue, a sign of deep thought. We wanted help from beings like us, who think like us. But perhaps that was our mistake. Your human ways of thinking, they are exactly what we need. What do you mean? Dr. Han asked. The enemy we flee. Axe said slowly. They'd predict everything we do because we think in logical, advanced ways. But you humans, you are wonderfully unpredictable. You find answers we would never see. The team looked at each other, realizing what this meant. They weren't just helping the aliens. They might be exactly what the aliens needed all along. So Li Du said, holding up their latest successful test, what's next? Axe's colors brightened. Next, we show you the real problem, and hope your human creativity can save us all. The main room of the lab had changed a lot in the past week. Alien displays now floated beside human computers, and the team had gotten used to working alongside the crystalline forms of the collectors. But today was different. Today, Axe was going to tell them the whole truth. Show them. Axe said to another collector named Rin. A large hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed galaxy after galaxy, each one with thousands of stars. As they watched, some of the stars began to go dark. These are not natural deaths, Axe explained. These worlds were killed by the harvesters. What are the harvesters? Dr. Han asked, though his face showed he already feared the answer. They are machines, Axe said, created long ago by a species that died out. The machines decided that organic life was inefficient, wasteful. They began to fix the galaxy by turning living worlds into machine worlds. Park's son stepped closer to the hologram. How many worlds? Thousands already, Rin answered. And they learn from each civilization they destroy. They get smarter, stronger, more efficient. Why can't other advanced civilizations stop them? Director Yang asked. Axe's colors turned dark. Because we are too predictable. We fight with logic and rules. The harvesters understand our ways of thinking. They can guess what we will do before we do it. Li Du, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. That's why our solution surprised you. We don't think like you do. Yes, Axe said. Your human minds, they make connections we would never see. You try things that seem wrong to us, but sometimes work better. Kim Jin was studying the hologram carefully. These machine worlds, they're spreading in a pattern. They're getting closer to Earth, aren't they? The room went quiet. Finally, Rin answered, yes. We estimate they will find your solar system within 5 years. Dr. Han looked at Director Yang. She nodded slowly. We need to tell our governments, she said. All of them. The whole world needs to prepare. Wait, Axe said quickly. There is more you need to know. The harvesters are not just machines. They have a network that connects them all. If they detect us here, they will come immediately. So we're in danger just by helping you? Park's son asked. Yes, Axe admitted. We should leave. Find another place to hide. We only showed you this so you would understand the danger coming. Li Du laughed suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. Don't you see? He said. This is perfect. Earth is the last place they'd look for you. We're too primitive to be a threat, and that's exactly why we might be able to beat them. Dr. Han's eyes widened as he understood. They won't expect our old technology, our simple solutions, our messy, human way of thinking. It's too dangerous, Axe protested. Your world is young, innocent. We can't ask you to fight our war. Director Yang stepped forward. You're not asking. We're offering. And from what you've shown us, this will be our war soon anyway. Better to fight it on our terms. The collectors' colors swirled as they communicated silently with each other. Finally, Axe turned back to the humans. Very well, it said. Show us how humans would fight the harvesters. But remember, if we fail, your world will be their next target. Then we better not fail, Dr. Han said simply. Park's son couldn't sleep. She sat in the lab at 3 a.m., surrounded by both human and alien technology. Something had been bothering her all day, and she finally understood what it was. Computer, call Dr. Han, she said. It's important. Dr. Han arrived 15 minutes later, looking tired but alert. What did you find? Look at this, Park's son pointed to her screen. The harvesters use quantum networks to think and communicate. That's why they're so fast and smart. But what if that's also their weakness? She pulled up an old project file. Remember when we tried to make quantum computers last year? We failed because our technology wasn't good enough. But we found something interesting. Dr. Han leaned closer. The interference pattern. Our old radio waves messed up the quantum signals. Exactly. Park's son smiled. What if we're not too primitive? What if we're just primitive enough? They called the others. Soon, Li Du, Kim Jin, and even Director Yang were there. Axe and Rin joined them through their hologram system. Show them, Dr. Han said to Park's son. She explained her idea. Earth still used many old technologies. Radio waves, analog signals, even basic electricity. These simple things could interfere with the Harvester's advanced quantum systems in ways that modern alien technology couldn't. It's like trying to play a new computer game on a very old computer, she explained. Sometimes it just won't work. Li Du caught on quickly. We could make a defense system that uses both human and alien technology. The Harvesters wouldn't know how to handle it. Kim Jin was already typing. If we combine our old satellite network with the Collector's quantum communicators, it would create chaos in their network. Axe finished, its colors brightening with excitement. Your primitive technology would be like static in their thoughts. They worked through the morning, combining Earth's old technology with the Collector's advanced systems. It wasn't pretty. Wires and antennas stuck out everywhere, and parts of it still used computer chips from 10 years ago. But it worked. Look at this test, Park Sun said, showing how their hybrid system confused a small quantum network. The Harvesters won't be able to predict what we do because half our technology is too old for them to understand, and the other half is too advanced for them to ignore, Rin added. This is remarkable. Director Yang watched the tests with growing hope. How soon can we build more? We'll need help, Li Du said. From everyone. Old radio stations, TV towers, even amateur radio operators. The more different signals we use, the better it will work. I'll call the government, Director Yang said. All of them. This is something the whole world needs to work on. Axis colors showed deep respect. We came here looking for help from advanced aliens. Instead, we found something better. Your human technology isn't primitive. It's different, and different is exactly what we need. Dr. Han looked at his team proudly. The Harvesters think they're perfect because they're advanced. But sometimes the best solution isn't the most advanced one. Sometimes, Park Sun added with a smile, the best solution is the one nobody expects. Outside the lab, the sun was rising. Earth's old technologies, the radio towers, satellite dishes, and simple electrical systems the humans had used for decades, stood against the morning sky. Soon, these supposedly primitive tools would become humanity's greatest weapons in a war against the most advanced enemy in the galaxy. The warning came at midnight. They found us, Axe announced, its crystal form pulsing with urgent colors. 3 Harvester ships just entered the solar system. Dr. Han looked at the giant screen showing Earth's defense network. Thousands of old radio towers, TV stations, and satellite dishes were now connected to Collector technology. It looked messy and strange, but it was their best hope. How long do we have? Director Yang asked. 2 hours until they reach Earth, Rin answered. They're moving faster than we expected. Park Sun checked their systems one last time. All stations report ready. Everyone knows what to do. Around the world, people waited by their equipment. Radio operators sat by their old machines. TV stations prepared to broadcast on frequencies they hadn't used in years. Even teenagers with ham radios were part of the plan. First Harvester ship entering defense range, Kim Jin reported. His screen showed 3 large dots moving toward Earth. They looked like silver spiders, each one bigger than a city. Begin Phase 1, Dr. Han ordered. Li Du pressed a button. Across Earth, thousands of old technologies started broadcasting at once. AM radio, FM radio, shortwave, microwave. Every frequency humans had ever used was now active. The first Harvester ship slowed down. It's working, Park Sun shouted. Their quantum network is getting confused. On the screen, they could see the Harvester ship's movements becoming jerky and uncertain. Its perfect machine thinking was being disrupted by Earth's cloud of old signals. Phase 2, Dr. Han commanded. Kim Jin activated the Collector technology they had mixed with Earth's old systems. Now quantum signals joined the chaos, creating patterns that even the Harvesters couldn't predict. The second Harvester ship tried to go around Earth's signal cloud, but there was no way around. The signals came from everywhere, a mix of old and new that filled space around Earth like an invisible shield. They're trying to adapt, Axe warned. The third ship is changing its quantum patterns. Now, Li Du shouted to his engineering team. They changed frequencies randomly, using patterns based on human music and TV shows. The harvesters, trying to think in perfect logic, couldn't handle the randomness. The first harvester ship started to turn away. Its quantum brain, confused by the mix of signals, couldn't function properly. The second ship tried to attack, but its weapons wouldn't work. They needed precise quantum calculations that were impossible in the signal chaos. The third ship is still coming, Rin reported. Time for Phase 3, Director Yang said quietly. Dr. Han nodded. Send the message. Park Sun typed quickly. Through their hybrid network, they sent a simple message to the harvesters, written in both quantum code and old human computer language. This world is protected. We are humanity. We are unpredictable. Leave now. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the third ship turned away. The harvesters, for the first time in their existence, had found a problem they couldn't solve with pure logic. The lab erupted in cheers. Humans hugged each other while the collectors' colors danced with joy. We did it, Dr. Han said, looking at his team. We really did it. No, Axe corrected, its colors showing deep respect. Humanity did it. You proved that sometimes the best defense isn't the most advanced one. It's the one that no one expects. 1 month after the battle, the lab looked very different. Earth's governments had built a new facility around the original building. And now humans and collectors worked side by side, everywhere you looked. Dr. Han sat in his new office, looking at a message from another alien civilization. This one hadn't been meant for Earth either, but now everyone in the galaxy was talking about the humans who had defeated the harvesters. 3 more distress calls today, Park Sun said, walking in with coffee. Everyone wants our help now. Who would have thought? Dr. Han smiled. A few months ago, we were too primitive to talk to. Now we're the galaxy's experts on fighting machine armies. Li Du rushed in, excited. The new defense system works. We installed it on the Rigel colony yesterday. The harvesters tried to attack this morning and ran away as soon as they saw our technology. A hybrid defense system, now called the Human Shield, was being shared with other civilizations. It still looked messy, old radio antennas next to quantum computers, satellite dishes painted with strange patterns, and wires going everywhere. But it worked better than any pure advanced technology. Kim Jin joined them, carrying a tablet showing star maps. The harvesters are retreating from every system that has our shield. They can't handle not being able to predict what will happen. Director Yang entered last, followed by Axe and Rin. The collectors had decided to make Earth their new home base, teaching humans about space travel while learning about human creativity. The Council of Worlds sent another message. Director Yang announced, they want Earth to join as a full member. But we're still primitive by their standards, Park Sun said. Axe's colors showed amusement. You proved that primitive doesn't mean weak. Your old technology, mixed with new ideas, it's changing how the whole galaxy thinks about progress. We received something else too, Rin added. The original message we sent, the one you answered. It finally reached its real destination. What did they say? Dr. Han asked. They apologized for being too far away to help. Rin's colors sparkled with joy. But they said they're glad we found you instead. They think humans will be better allies than they could have been. Li Du laughed. Because we're unpredictable. Because you're different, Axe corrected. You show us new ways to solve old problems. You remind us that progress isn't always about being more advanced. Director Yang looked out the window at the busy facility. Humans in lab coats walked next to crystalline aliens. Old radio equipment sat beside quantum computers. It wasn't pretty, but it was working. So what's next? She asked. There are more worlds that need help, Dr. Han said. More civilizations learning to fight the harvesters. They need what we can teach them. Then let's get to work, Park Sun said simply. As they planned their next mission, none of them could quite believe how it had all started, with a signal that wasn't meant for humans, answered by people who were supposed to be too primitive to matter. But maybe that was the point. Sometimes the best helpers are the ones you never expected to find. And sometimes the most powerful solutions come from the simplest beginnings. Earth was no longer hiding from the galaxy. Instead, they were teaching the most advanced civilizations a simple truth: being different, being unpredictable, even being primitive. These weren't weaknesses at all. They were humanity's greatest strength.